Hi guys, happy Monday or happy Tuesday and welcome to your third week of distance learning. Thank you everyone for doing your ed puzzles and for doing your 4 Dreambox lessons a week. And I've also seen a lot of people are making a lot of progress on Reflex, which is awesome. Remember, Reflex is going to earn you a lot of extra credit at the end of the year if you reach 100% proficiency, which is something that's pretty easy to do as long as you're doing maybe like 5 minutes a day, maybe 10 minutes a day, you'll get it really quickly. Something that's new this week is that I am going to start putting grades into the grade book, so you'll be able to see your grades go up if you're doing all of your work or go down if you're not doing your work. So make sure that you're really paying attention to that. And I'm going to grade it based off your answers on the ed puzzle. So make sure that you're trying your hardest. As always, I'll be in those Google Hangouts if you have questions for me. Let's start with looking at week 17. Here are your answers for numbers 1 and 2. For question number 1, this looks just like a problem that we did in Countdown Week 20, number 2, and I told you guys to go look there. Of course, if you need help, make sure you pop into the Google Hangouts and ask me about it so that way you know how to do it in the future all by yourself. And here's your answer for number 2. Go ahead and pause so you can get these checked off on your packet. All right, for number 3, we talked about the greatest common factor in our last video. The greatest common factor of 32 and 56, the biggest number that can divide into both 32 and 56 is 8. So that means 8 books will be on each bookshelf. If there are 32 books or 32 mystery books and there will be 8 books on each shelf, then she'll need 4 shelves for mystery. I'll abbreviate, and she'll need 7 shelves because 56 divided by 8 is 7. 7 shelves for biography. Go ahead and pause to make sure you can get that written down or check your work or pop into the Google Hangouts if you have a question. All right, here's the answers for number 4. Of course, I changed it to make it better. The scuba diver was 75 feet below the surface at negative 75 feet elevation, but we know that that's not just any old scuba diver. That's me, Mrs. Gooch, negative 75 feet. And for number 5, this was kind of a tricky question. When you divide, your answer to the division problem is 7 and 4 over 7, which I believe I told you in the last video, but this is not your answer. The question says, how many pieces can the carpenter cut? And so the answer is 7 full pieces. It says, explain how you found your answer. So your answer should say something about how you divided and how you found that the answer was 7 and 4/7. 7 4/7 is not our answer because the carpenter isn't looking for parts of a piece of wood that are only 1 3/4 long. He's looking for full pieces. So you can make 7 pieces that are 1 3/4 feet long from that big board that he started with. We're going to do something a little bit new now. Your homework, you have 2 assignments, well, kind of 3 if you think about Dreambox. The first part of your homework assignment is week 16 numbers 1 and 2. I hate number 3, so you will never ever have to do numbers 3. And if you look at the packet, numbers 4 and 5 already have the answers there for you. So the first part of the homework is week 16 numbers 1 and 2, but you have a second part of your homework. Right now, I need you to hit pause and go get your math notebook. We're going to take some notes right now in your math notebook. Remember, the rule is whatever goes on my board should be written down in your notes. Press pause, go get your math notebook. All right, so we are going to take some notes on mean, median, mode, and range. Or what you should title your notes are measures of center. And so measures of center are ways that we look at data. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different test scores or quiz scores. And for a teacher, it's kind of hard to look at all these different quiz scores. So we have ways of analyzing this data to help us understand these numbers better. And so we're going to be talking about measures of center. The first thing that we need to do, no matter what kind of problem it is order our numbers from least to greatest. So go ahead and order your numbers here from least to greatest. All right, here we go. I ordered my numbers from least to greatest, and I want to make sure that I didn't forget about any pieces of data and that I also didn't invent any. So I started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data. I'm going to make sure that I still have 6 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good news. That means that I didn't forget about any of my numbers and I didn't make up something. The first thing that we're going to do is find the mean. The mean is also known as the average. Outside of math, you'll hear about people talking about the average all of the time. This is math that you'll hear in the real world, I promise, all of the time, but everyone calls it the average outside of math class. Inside math class, we call it the mean. I don't know why. I think it's better that we call it the average, but oh well, I didn't get to create it. So we find the mean, or the average, by adding up all numbers, and then we're going to divide. Oops, then divide. Remember, anything that I'm writing down, you should also be writing down in your notes. So we need to find the mean. You're going to add up all these numbers. You get to use your calculator. Remember, anytime you use your calculator, you should do it twice, just in case your fingers mess up, because your calculator is not as smart as you. Sometimes our fingers make mistakes. Your calculator is not Siri. So 60 plus 68 plus 72 plus 72 plus 80 plus 86 is 438. And then we have to divide. We are going to divide by a different number every single time that we do a mean problem. This time we're going to divide by the number 6. Why do you think that we're going to divide by the number 6? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 438 divided by the number 6 is 73. So that means if we had to guess what most people got on the quiz, 73 would be a good guess. That probably means that the teacher needs to go back and reteach some of this stuff because 73 is not a very good quiz grade. If a teacher wanted to describe what most of her students got, saying around 73 would be a pretty good way of describing it. Now we need to find the median. These are, remember, measures of center. Median sounds like the middle. So we're going to find the middle number. In order to find the middle number, we need to start on the outside and kind of work our way in. So I'm going to cross out one number on the biggest and the smallest, another biggest and smallest, another biggest and smallest. So the middle of all of these numbers you can see is right there. So what's the middle of 72 and 72? What number is exactly in between 72 and 72? Well, that's easy, it's 72. So that means half the class got higher than a 72 and half the class got lower than a 72. For me, and this is a personal preference, but for me, the median is kind of the most important number. Half the class did better than 72, but half the class did worse than 72. That is really not very good. Okay, the next measure of center is called the mode. And mode is the number that we see the most. We could have one mode, we could have 7 modes, we could have 0 modes, which happens some of the time. In this problem, we only have one mode, and there's one number that we see the most. We see the number 72 more than any other number, so our mode in this problem is 72. So like I said, we're learning about measures of center, and all of our numbers are right about 72, 73. So this is some really consistent data that we have. The last thing that we're going to learn today is called the range. It's not part of measures of center, but we're just looking to see kind of how far our numbers are spread out. How far do these numbers range? So that one's going to be the biggest number minus the smallest number. So the biggest number that we have here is 86 minus the smaller is 60. 86 minus 60, and that equals 26. Go ahead and pause, make sure that you have all of this written down. You will be responsible for doing the next problems on the Edpuzzle. So go ahead, pause, get this all written down, and press play when you're ready to keep going. We're lucky in this problem because we can see that these numbers are already kind of ordered from greatest to least. 0, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, that's some ugly handwriting. Let's see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good news, I didn't make up any data and I didn't forget about any data. If I had maybe 12 numbers here, that would mean that I added an extra number. So we want to make sure that I'm not creating things that aren't true. In order to find the mean, mean? Well, first I'm going to pause in this Edpuzzle and I'm going to let you guys type in what you think the answer is. You can rewind if you need an example. Go ahead and find the mean. All right, so the mean, we had to add up all the numbers. That's 44 divided by 11. 44 divided by 11 is 4. And this time we're dividing by 11 because we have 11 pieces of data. The next problem, or the next part of this problem that we have to do if we're asked to find the measures of center, if we're asked to kind of understand what all of this data means, all of these numbers, it's hard to understand, so we're finding the measures of center to help us understand. The next thing we have to find is the median. Remember, the median is the middle number. So I'll help you guys out with this one. I'm going to kind of cross out numbers from the outside all the way in and see which one I'm left with in the middle. My middle number is 3, and I'm just going to kind of double check that this number is really in the middle. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers that are bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers that are smaller. So my median is 3. My mode is going to be the number that we see the most, and there's only one number that we see the most here. We have 2 2s, and we do have 2 5s, but we have 3 3s, so we see the number 3 more than any other number. So 3 is our mode. Again, this is kind of good news, good data when all of these numbers are right next to each other, 4, 3, and 3. Our range is going to be the biggest number minus the smallest number, so we have a range of 8 here. There's a difference of 8 inches between the day that it snowed the most and the day that it snowed the least. Go ahead and pause, make sure you have all this written down. Our last problem today is about a football team. Your job right now is to order these from least to greatest and then to find the mean all on your own. Go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so I had asked you guys to find the mean, and I went ahead and I did the mean, the median, the mode, and the range for you, but I made a mistake. The mean is not 168. It is a common mistake that people get this answer. Maybe you can figure out what mistake that I made in order to get this answer. It's a very common mistake. 168 is part of my problem, but it's not my final answer. 168 is what I get when I add up 14 plus 20 plus 21 plus 22 plus 29 plus 31 plus 31. 168 is not my answer, but when I divide 168 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm going to get my correct mean, which is 24. So my mean was 24, the median's 22, my mode was 31, and my range is 17. If I was going to describe this football team, I would say that half the time this football team plays, they get more than 22 points, and half the time that they play, they get less than 22 points. Your homework, we already talked about how it's week 16, numbers 1 and 2. You are also going to get out this book. Do you remember this book? I'm sure that you've missed it and that you've been sleeping with it next to your bed every single night, maybe cuddling with it and using it as a pillow. You are going to open up to page 821, problems 1, 2, 3, and then 4A and B. Don't skip the second part of number 4 because I think that it's really important. If you have any questions, I'll be in the Google Hangouts. Have a good day, guys. Bye.